Isn't it funny how we get the best human interactions, the most meaningful contact with people when we're just living our regular lives every day? So I had two great interactions with people at the grocery store today. Just a couple hours ago, I was buying some salmon and some shrimp to make for dinner tonight. And when I got up to the counter, there were two people ahead of me. There was a woman, she was just finishing up and she left, and the guy ahead of me said, "You can go in front of me." And I said, "Oh, thanks." So I told the guy behind the counter, I said, "Okay, I'll take a pound of salmon and a half a pound of shrimp." And the guy standing next to me, who let me go ahead of him, says, "Oof, today's the worst day to make fish." And I said, "Oh, really? Why is that?" And he says, "Because it's rainy and it's really humid." And he's like, you're going to cook the fish and the smell's going to hang in the air because of the humidity. And I said, "Oh, I never thought about it that way." To the guy standing next to me, waiting to also buy some fish. And I said, "Well, it's going to be like that all week. So, you know." And he said, "Yeah, I know." He's like, I'm really getting sick of this weather." He's like, "We just had all that snow. It's cold." I said, "Yeah, it's not fun, but it's almost over." And he says, "Yeah," he's like, "I'm off from work today, and I really like being home when it's rainy." And I'm thinking to myself, really, dude? Because I prefer to be home when it's really nice and warm out because I can go out and do things. Like, I want to go out and do things. When it's rainy, that's the time I'd rather be cooped up in an office, not when it's like nice out. You'd be staring out the window like everybody's out there having fun and I'm stuck in this office. Where when it's just raining, who wants to go outside? Not me. But, that's neither here nor there. Back to the story. So the guy behind the counter says to me, "Oh, you got a pound of salmon. If you go up to the front of the store, you can pick up a bag of rice and a bunch of asparagus, and there's a special deal." And I said, "Oh, I'm not interested in that deal." And he's like, "Oh, but it's free." And the guy standing next to me interrupts. He's like, "Yeah, I'm really interested in moving to Florida, but I'm not going to be able to get there. I'm really sick of this weather up here, and I just want to move there." And I said, "So go." And he's like, "Well, it's not that easy to move down south." And I said, "But it is that easy." And the guy behind the counter hands me my food, and I proceed to walk away, leaving the guy standing there with "it is that easy" hanging in the air, like the smell of fish will be when I'm finished cooking my salmon tonight. And so I finished doing my shopping. I go up to the front register, and I am about to pay for my food when I realize, oof, I forgot to get my free rice and my free asparagus. So I told the cashier, I said, "I'm going to leave this here. I will be right back." And she said, "No problem. Go ahead." And so I picked up my rice. I picked up my asparagus. And before I headed back to the register, I thought to myself, I've never said thank you to the guy behind the counter who told me about this special deal. In fact, I kind of ignored that little tidbit of information that he had given me because the guy who was talking to me distracted me from it. And I didn't want to leave it hanging without saying thank you because I didn't want that guy to think that what he told me didn't matter to me, because it did. He just saved me some money. He just, alerted me to an offer that I had no idea about, and I really appreciate the fact that he did. So I need to tell him thank you, because I also don't want him to stop telling other people that there is a deal at the front of the store that they compare with, the salmon that they purchased from him. Because me not saying thank you or even acknowledging that he told me that fact, it could make him feel like, well, why am I even telling anyone? I'm just going to stop telling people that. It's, something that happens all the time. When people feel that they're not being acknowledged or validated, he's giving out really good information. He's being a really nice guy. They stop being really nice guys because it's just not appreciated by others. And even if it is appreciated, if you're not saying thank you, how do they know that, it mattered to you? They don't. So thank you is one of the best things that you can say when someone does something nice for you. If they hold the door open, say thank you. If they give you some information that helps save you money, say thank you. And so I went to the back of the store. I said, I got the rice and the asparagus that you told me about. Thank you so much. And he smiled. He said, no problem. Gave me a thumbs up and a wave. And I went back to the front and I paid for my stuff. Back to the guy who allowed me to go ahead of him. And I really want to move down south, but it's not that easy. Well, we make things easy or hard for ourselves. And what makes it the hardest is in the language we use to make decisions. So we orient ourselves based on the words that come out of our fucking mouths or what we believe is possible for ourselves. Him saying it's not that easy. Well, okay, yeah. For you, it's not that easy because you just created a situation for yourself, making it not easy. If you say you can't versus you can, your body's pointed in a completely different direction. If you reframe that I can't into an I can, your body turns around and it moves in the direction of the I can. If you change and say, I can't, your body changes directions and moves in the direction of I can't. What do I mean by that? If that guy said, I want to move down south, you know what? I'm going to move down south. He has set an intention. What happens when you make a decision to do something? Your body starts moving in the direction of that decision. So it's not you sitting in front of a candle, lighting it, and saying, oh, candle, please manifest moving down south for me. And waiting for the candle to make it happen. Because that's not how it works. When you say, I'm making a decision to do that thing, your body automatically starts moving in the direction of that thing. And so when you start talking to your friends with the frame of you moving down south. So you're telling your friend, oh yeah, I'm planning to move down south. And all of a sudden, oh really? I have this house that has been sitting down there forever. My uncle passed away. I inherited this house. The people that were in there before, they weren't good tenants and I haven't wanted to rent it to anybody else, but I would love to rent it to you, friend. Or, you're talking to another person that maybe somebody you work with. My brother just got a promotion at this company that's just like ours, and he's looking for someone who can fill this role that you would be perfect for. You're actually doing it now, but it would be a little bump of a promotion for you too. That's how it works. So reframing your thoughts from I can't to I can, it's a big fucking deal. It makes a big fucking difference. And it's not woo. It's not magic. It's you just making a decision to do something and moving towards that decision to make it happen. That's it. That's all it is. Saying I can't points you one way. Saying I can points you another. And really, that's the magic of it all. If you want to do something, just say I can, and you will be able to do it. Now, is this guy going to move down south tomorrow? No. Is he going to move down south next week? No. But maybe if he says that he can in a couple years, he might. Maybe he, has kids that are still in school and it's not that easy as, oh, my kids are in school. Okay. So it's not that easy to move right now. But when your kids graduate, it'll be easier. And there's a lot that you might have to plan before that happens anyway. Even if you didn't have kids in school, some people own a home and they have to sell it. So in the time that you're waiting to move down south, you might want to paint your house. You might want to refurbish it a bit so that you can command a little bit more on the market. Maybe you don't even know what the market is doing. So you want to start looking around at other people in your neighborhood who are selling their houses. How much is it going for? Maybe I don't want to sell my house because the market's not great and maybe I want to rent it out. If you want to do something, say I can, and your body will move towards it. If you say you can't, then your body's going to move away from it. So the I can't becomes your reality because you're not moving towards the thing you want. hope you understand that concept. It's fairly easy, but also hard to grasp for a lot of people for a lot of reasons. It's a mindset thing. Do you believe this or don't you? And most of us have been conditioned to believe that we're not good enough to do shit. And so we have limiting beliefs about just about everything. We have to learn how to reframe those beliefs. You can't control what the people around you are doing, but you can control how you move through this world. And that's all I have to say. My name is Kiya, and that's what I said.